Good evening, I'm CrackedRack. First, I must mention that I will be getting a far better setup. My setup right now looks like absolute garbage, I'm aware, but this is temporary while my equipment ships here. Second off, I'd like to state officially that these are my official final thoughts on abortion. Now, abortion is a very complicated topic to me. It's something I don't really take lightly, and I get kind of angry about it because of the liberal mindset a lot of people apply to it. It's something I mostly want to discuss because the people on Reddit, or places like Reddit, never shut up about their pro-abortion arguments, and they really refuse to look at any perspective that isn't theirs. They never shut up about how evil people who are anti-abortion are, and they never consider their perspective either. And I feel like they don't get the perspective of other people because they only care about what's in their little bubble, because that's all they're comfortable with. They don't care about making change or being anything useful to the world. They see these political hot-button topics as funny entertainment when they're bored. And a lot of pro-abortion activists are actually very bad faith people. They'll state things like, as a man, it's none of my business what happens with a woman's body, which is, that's bull. That is absolutely ridiculous. As a member of the human race, there is nothing that has ever been more of your business than what is going on with abortion. Abortion is one of the most pivotal topics in America right now, FYI. Also, I'd like to mention, I know I normally make haha funny comedy videos, and, that's usually my approach to these kind of hot-button topics, but I figured I'd do something a lot more mature that showed my actual personality for once. Most people know me for my childish, funny antics from youth, but I am ready to sober up a bit here. So abortion, my stance on it. It depends. If you're somebody who has been sexually assaulted or violated or impregnated without any type of consent previously, then I believe it is your 100% right and actually due diligence as an American citizen to get an abortion. No matter how many times it happens, if you are violated, you should be able to get an abortion. If you are underage and you made a terrible mistake, you should be able to get an abortion every time until you're about 18, 19. Now, where do I draw the line? Well, it depends, like I said. Are you a party goer who has a lot of unprotected sex and refuses to wear protection, and you just let men ejaculate inside of you unceremoniously? If so, you should not be allowed to get an abortion. Or at least, you should only be able to do it once or twice. You should have to deliver a full term and then give your child to Child Protective Services or a foster home, because there's so many very capable, qualified parents out there who want babies more than anything, who are fully capable of having babies, who cannot be parents for a variety of reasons. And they're being robbed from that experience and from that, benefit to the world for your own selfish reasons. There are people I've known in my life, unfortunately, who I resent wholesale because of their reckless abortion decisions. Just getting abortion after abortion after abortion after abortion, thinking it's cute. And there's just nobody I respect less than that. Those people are genuinely the scum on the bottom of my shoes. Abortion is a sacred and extraordinarily important act that could literally change the structure of the earth. When you get an abortion, you could be denying the world of a potential peacemaker, a potential artist, a potential hero. To be fair, you could also be preventing the world from getting, say, another... I'm not even going to say his name, you can probably get where I'm going with this. Like I said, abortion is a sacred act, and it should only be done when it is absolutely 100% necessary. Now, I do think you should be able to, if you're an irresponsible, ass, get a freebie abortion for the first time, which I know sounds funny, but I do think if you were young and you made a serious mistake that you didn't mean to do, and you got pregnant, because that's very easy to do, you should be able to get that abortion without much shame, without much problem. But if you're like 33 years old and you've had like 4 or 5 abortions in the past and you're trying to do it again casually because of your bad decisions, your selfish decisions, you should be laughed out of the clinic. Not only laughed out of the clinic, Child Protective Services should have to be forced to watch you deliver your baby full term, where you are not allowed to drink or smoke or do anything of the sort, and then take your child from you as you cry. That's what I think should happen. Now, that is a bit cruel. However, I do not have much tolerance for issues like this. I am so sick of incompetent adults. I think that it should be a mandatory law for this to happen in the United States, or at least some tamer form of this. No more careless abortions. It's despicable, it's a complete stain on American democracy, it makes America look like a joke, it makes us look like losers, because it is normalizing the termination of children to impressionable young people who then think it's okay to have as much unprotected sex with as many people as they want and get pregnant and just avoid all responsibility for it and then normalize it. Now, it is perfectly acceptable, in my opinion, I should mention I'm not religious, to be sexually promiscuous. I take zero issue with being sexually promiscuous, but you need to take the mandatory, necessary precautions to protect yourself. And if you don't, I don't feel sorry for you if you get pregnant. I don't feel sorry for you if you get an STD. You do not deserve to feel good about yourself and just avoid all responsibility. You should have to deal with the full brunt of what you've done from start to finish. You should have to deal with the social consequences of that. You should have to deal with the physical consequences of that to your body. I'm very disgusted with the liberal mindset right now, very present in today's American culture, especially amongst youth, of not only are these abortions good and encouraged, but socially rewarded and treated as an awesome, cool thing that is supporting women's rights. That is just gross. If you really want to support women's rights, you shouldn't be encouraging scummy men to impregnate these vulnerable women and then discard the baby and get to do that to more women. How is that supporting women's rights? If anything, that is disintegrating women's rights. That is spitting directly into the face of women's rights. There is nothing honorable or good about that whatsoever, and that needs to be ingrained in American culture rather than this other culture that we've, perpetuated amongst youth that is just despicable and disgusting. Funny enough, I will probably get called a fascist for stating this, even though there is nothing fascistic about it. Words and terms are being completely twisted by the media and youth and unintelligent people and bad faith people, and making our youth genuinely unintelligent to the point where they cannot even have a conversation or civil debate without extreme pettiness and violence and aggression. Here is the official definition of fascism. Fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, ultra-nationalistic political ideology and movement characterized by a dictator-esque leader, centralized autocracy, militancy, forcible suppression of opposition, and more. How is that in any way, shape, or form relating to preventing people from murdering babies and children and avoiding all responsibility for it so they can pretend and act like that's perfectly fine and cool? Anyway, that's all for today. Subscribe if you enjoyed this content and prepare for more. Feel free to leave comments about what I could potentially cover next. I'm open to many political suggestions.